Hey guys, welcome back. Cemetery Hunting with Robin. This is part 2 of our look at the Baker Cemetery in Blount County, Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains. So let's get started. First we have James Montgomery Henry, 1808 to 1875, and according to our source, he fought in the Civil War, but we don't know which side. Then we have John Fauci Henry, 1847 to 1919, and John served as a corporal in the Company L of the 2nd Tennessee Cavalry in Union Army during the Civil War. Now we have Nancy Lane Logan Henry, 1794 to 1868, Polly Higgins Henry, 1800 to 1879, S. Howard Henry, 1832 to 1887, Samuel Henry II, 1762 to 1824, and Samuel served in Redrick's company of 4th Tennessee Regiment as a quartermaster sergeant during the American Revolution. Then we have Felix Andrew Hester at 1928 to 2019. We don't have a picture of his grave, but we know that he retired from the U.S. Air Force. Then we have Elizabeth Blair Paxton Houston, 1757 to 1831, and her monument was erected by the Daughters of the American Revolution in 1942. And she was actually the mother of General Sam Houston. Now we have Alfred Burton Howard, 1810 to 1882, Benjamin Sater Howard, 1803 to 1840, Euphemia P. Hall Howard, 1815 to 1894, George Sater Howard, 1770 to 1840, and George owned and operated a grist mill and a distillery. Next we have George W. Howard, 1836 to 1891, and he fought in the Confederacy, or for the Confederacy during the Civil War. Now we have James Calvin Howard, 1840 to 1912, and according to our source, he was a Confederate veteran, and the same source says that his funeral there was 3 Confederate veterans and 3 Union veterans who served as his pallbearers. That's cool. Now we have Joe Homer Howard, 1921 to 1996, and Joe served as a seaman 2nd class in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Josiah Howard, we don't have any dates for him, but he served as a private in Company L of the 1st Colored Heavy Artillery in the Union Army during the Civil War. Now we have Mary Elizabeth, or also known as Betsy, Jones Howard, 1778 to 1857. George A.K. Hoyle, 1843 to 1890, and George was a police officer. And according to the article from the Knoxville, Tennessee Journal, dated Monday, September the 22nd, 1890, Officer Hoyle was murdered in his home. Sad. Then we have his wife, Mary M. Tulloch Hoyle, 1840 to 1933. John J. Hutchins, 1817 to 1884. Margaret Ann Hutzel Huffstedler, 1841 to 1903. We actually have a picture of her. And her husband, Michael Anderson Huffstedler, 1833 to 1910. And he fought in the Civil War, but we don't know which side. Now is Robert W. Hughes, 1931 to 2012. And Robert was a staff sergeant in the 7th Cavalry Infantry with the U.S. Army from 1948 to 1958. He served in the Philippines and Korea and also served with the Tennessee National Guard. Now we have Elizabeth Henry Hutton, 1812 to 1898. John Nicholson Hutton, 1840 to 1913. And you'll notice how most of his headstone's buried. So I know we've seen that a few times where they've pulled the headstone up. I guess they're trying to fix it and reestablish it upright. But John served for Company B of the 4th Tennessee Infantry in the Union Army during the Civil War. We have James A. Jackson, 1836 to 1903, and he served as a lieutenant in Company L of the 2nd Tennessee Cavalry in the Union Army during the Civil War. Samuel A. Jackson, 1841 to 1896, and Samuel served as a sergeant in Company F of the 2nd Tennessee Cavalry in the Union Army during the Civil War. Now we have Thomas Jones, 1846 to 1901, and Thomas was born in Herefordshire, England. I hope I said that right. Next is Andrew Kennedy, 1751 to 1834. He served as a private in the Brigadier General Rutherford's Light Cavalry Volunteers during the American Revolution. In South Carolina, he was struck by 9 musket balls, good Lord, during a skirmish with a group of British loyalists and survived. He served 8 campaigns during the war. He was a busy man, but wow, he went through some stuff. Now we have Rachel Penny Kennedy, 1761 to 1845. David C. Carr, or Keir, 1840 to 1863. And we only have photo of his military papers, no grave. So, anyway, he served as a sergeant in Company G of the 1st Tennessee Cavalry in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. And his name appeared on a roster of prisoner of war at the Louisville, Kentucky military prison camp. I don't know much about that at all, so I've only heard of a few real bad ones, so that I'm not sure. I'm sure none of them was pleasant. So next we have James Claiborne Carr, 1838 to 1914. And he served in the 5th Tennessee Cavalry in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Now is Jesse C. or J.C. Kerr, or Carr, whichever, 1839 to 1905, and he was a medical doctor. He served in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. And his wife, Mary Ann Cochran Kerr, 1845 to 1918, and there's no photo of her grave. Robert Calloway Keir, 1929 to 1960, and he fought in the Korean War as a sergeant in the U.S. Army. William Miller Keir, 1814 to 1903. And next we have Henry Theodore Cavisto, 1940 to 2005, and he was a veteran of the U.S. Army. Now we have Ezekias Kaiser, 1810 to 1877, and if you'll notice the beautiful carving on his headstone, it looks like the Holy Bible with the altar in the background. Isn't that beautiful? Now we have Joseph A. Kaiser, 1838 to 1922, and he fought with the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Mary Ann, also known as Polly Weir Kaiser, 1812 to 1896. Leonard Lambert, 1918 to 1981, and he served in the U.S. Army during World War II. James M. Lane, 1818 to 1887, and he was also a medical doctor. We have Margaret McCall Lattimore, 1817 to 1840. William Lyon, 1817 to 1900. Henry Logan, 1777 to 1845, and Henry fought in the War of 1812, but we don't have a picture of his grave. Next we have Homer M. Logan, 1872 to 1880. We actually have a picture of him. John C. Logan, 1810 to 1893. John Montgomery Lowry, 1822 to 1898. He served in Company D of the 2nd Tennessee Cavalry during the Civil War. We have James Malcolm, 1818 to 1869. John W. Malcolm, 1810 to 1885. Ben Harrison McCall, 1888 to 1968, and he served as a sergeant with the U.S. Army during World War I. Then we have Cynthia Clementine McCammon McCall, 1853 to 1905. We have a picture of her. Mary Jane Henry McCall, 1820 to 1897. Samuel Doak McCall, 1828 to 1865, and he served in Company A of the 3rd Tennessee Infantry of the Union Army during the Civil War. Now he died on April the 8th of 1865, the day before Confederate Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant. We have Martha Caroline McCammon, 1849 to 1922. Here's a picture of her. And her brother Samuel Alexander McCammon, 1847 to 1919. And we also have a picture of him. And according to a post on Foundergraph, he fought in the Civil War, but we don't know which side he fought for. We have Joseph McClan, 1838 to 1882, and you'll notice the Maltese cross on his grave. That means he was in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Hannah G. Swan McClung, 1803 to 1898. Patrick McClung, 1793 to 1869, and according to our source, he fought during the war with the Cherokee Indians. So that's going to finish part 2. We hope that you liked this little video. We hope you found ancestry. Most importantly, maybe some people you're looking for. I know I've been getting back into ancestry myself. So far, I've not found anybody in these cemeteries, which is discouraging for me, but hopefully it's good for you. So hit the like, the subscribe, and share this video for me. I appreciate it. And be sure to look out for next week for part 3 of this cemetery, the Bakers Creek Cemetery in Blount County. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.